Don't let your left brain tell you that this tooth is white, because it's not. Hey guys, I have super exciting news. This video is the video you've been waiting for your entire life. You've literally been dreaming of this for I don't know how long. I am going to teach you how to paint teeth. So, never again will you have to wonder if your, pretty lady has a big horse mouth, or if, buck teeth syndrome, or gray decaying teeth syndrome, or any of those things. In this video, you're gonna learn how to do it, and you'll have confidence from here on out how to paint teeth. And that's pretty exciting. I am going to paint this source. As you can see from this source, we have all the things that trip people up. We have back teeth and teeth that are kind of receding back here. We have bottom teeth that are behind the front teeth. We've got shiny teeth. We've got, all the things that trip people up. And so you're gonna know how to get over them in this lesson. So first thing you're gonna see me do is a quick underpainting in acrylic, which will go real fast. And then we'll pick up the lesson with oil. I am going to start big to small, messy to more refined. And so I'm just going to begin by blocking in, and just so you kind of know what I'm thinking in terms of warm and cool, I've switched to oil here. This is the warmest, right? It's the closest to us. And a mistake that people make is they make teeth also warm. And what that will do is give us buck teeth. The teeth will be too prominent. So this has to be really, really, really warm. And I'm going to cool it off as it goes down, and then this area has to be cooler than even right here. Back here will be super duper cool. These teeth will be very cool. Then I'll start getting into some neutrals that are cool neutrals, and then warmer neutrals, and then true warm but on the low side, and then very warm. So if you don't really know what I'm talking about in terms of that spectrum of warm and cool, if you look at our paint, it has a little dial on it. And so the color, like for example, so I have here on my palette yellow ochre, and that is a warm, okay? But it's not nearly as warm as this radiant cad yellow medium. That is going to be warmer than this. And this cool yellow is going to be, warmer than, let's say, this cool violet here. So your colors, are going to move depending on how cool they are. The super cool ones, and with all of these nuances here of close to us but not as close as this, right? This has to look like it's in front of that. So that's why this part of the painting has to be really, really warm, and then really, really cool, and then everything else is in between. And that is what is going to help us not have buck teeth. The other thing you have to look at is watching out for your left brain to trip you up. So the first thing that happens when you go to paint teeth is you go, oh my gosh, I have to paint teeth. And you get all nervous, right? And then that triggers your left brain to activate. And so you start making decisions out of your left brain, like teeth are white, I have to paint them white. But if you look close, they're not white. This is like very, very dark kind of bluish gray. And there's, if you can see it, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little bit of a faint pink orangey line around it. Okay, and here it's kind of green. It moves a little towards greeny yellow up here. And that's quite dark too. Even this highlight right here is not true white. These highlights on the lips, even though they're shiny, they're not true white. There's really nothing on here. The whitest white we have is this highlight right here. That is the whitest white. So now these teeth can't be so dark and dingy that it looks like she needs to go to the dentist, but you're not getting white out of the tube just because you're painting white teeth. That's a left brain response. So you really have to look at the nuances that are here and follow those. So that's just kind of a heads up of what I'm thinking and what the pitfalls are in painting teeth. Now I'm going to get to it. All right. So I'm just mixing up some cool skin tones. Okay, so that's a little orange. So what am I gonna do? Put a little bit of blue and violet in there to mellow it out. And I'm painting what's furthest away first. It's pretty pink, so we're gonna add some green. So it's really important to get your values correct when you're painting. Anytime you want to paint something that really looks like the object, it's about the values, getting the values right. And one way to check out your values is you can hold up your brush next to what you're painting and squint your eyes and see if the values match. So see how that's really similar? But if I go here, you can see that it's too dark for this spot right here. Another kind of good idea is to just incorporate a little bit of your skin tone into your teeth. Not heavy, see I'm barely dusting it, just to get, you know, your color to kind of transition around so you're not having like blue teeth and pink skin. Okay, so now I'm gonna move into some brighter, cool tones for the edge of these lips because we want them to fold down, right? If I don't paint this area cool, it's gonna look like she has paper lips that are like flat. So they're round here and they curve there and there. These areas have to be cooler. You always want to watch for some subtle things, right? And this is just you looking at your source closely and training your eye to see it. And sometimes that takes time. So if you look, the teeth are actually making a reflection right here on that inner lip. And I've got to make this behind it look further away. So the lucky thing for me is that this is a lighter value than those teeth behind there. These darker teeth help me out quite a bit because I can keep this very cool, this highlight right here, because it's a lighter value than those. So it'll pop a little forward and I can rely on value instead of warm and cool to make that look like it's in front of that. Now, if for whatever reason these teeth were lighter, like we have right here, no other choice but to warm up this edge so it looks like it's in front of these teeth. So this will be lighter but cool. This will have to be warmer. I don't have a choice about that. So right here though, I'm using a cool right now and I'm just kind of to remind myself I'm putting that in there and I can refine it later and get the shape closer a little bit later. So I want to remember that we have a reflection there. And every once in a while, I'll throw some of the color I'm using into these teeth just to, you know, have some cohesiveness. And there's a little bit of a reflective light also right here where the teeth are making a reflection. I'm going to move to some warmer tones, and I'm kind of mixing a little bit warm and cool together to make a neutral. Okay, so let's hit those teeth now. And I'm looking for just various tones of gray. And again, value is your friend. Don't just wing it and take a guess and, you know, hope you hit it. I have a gray, but I didn't use black, okay? So a lot of people think gray is made with black and white. Don't do that. Don't ever mix black and white in the same color. Either you put white or you put black. So don't mix black and white together. How you make a gray is, see, I have black here, but I haven't touched it. And the only way I'll use black is back in here to get that really, really dark, if I use it at all. So to make gray, I mixed something here with whatever was there. So complements is how you mix a gray. Just mixing all of your actual colors into each other with white until you get a nice gray color. So this is kind of in the violet gray, and I'm looking to see what value am I hitting. See, it's too light for right there, and it's about right for right here. I'm gonna have to come into this a little bit with the teeth because they got a little cut off there, which is fine. Okay, and I'm not coloring in the whole tooth with one color. That's a mistake also. You want to just put it here and there, so you have a variety of whites in there. Okay, and I think I'm going to go down a brush to a smaller brush. And as you can see, they're already looking like teeth. They're not too white. I'm going to do these back teeth here just so I deal with that space a bit more, and I got to get the value right. So it's going to be darker than what I had. That's a little too dark. And you really, to see it, you have to squint there. So that's this tooth. Now I'm lining up, you know, this little space is right here between the two. And so this one kind of hits that corner right there. And I'm gonna have to run something that's a little warmer along that edge so this tooth comes in front of that tooth, because we can already see that they're on the same plane, and we need this tooth to look like it's in front. Okay, so now I'm going to lighten it up a little bit as we go to the next. So also as these teeth get down here towards the corners and back, you want the focus here, and these edges can get blurrier, right? So I'm kind of like barely painting them, using pretty thin paint, not really wanting to hit details, just kind of impressionistically, just kind of blurry, fuzzy. So we don't notice them much, but they're there. Same with this guy, real fuzzy edges. Okay. So don't let your left brain tell you after you've painted this tooth that this tooth is white, because it's not. So we need to check the value. Pretty close. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to warm up, just because these teeth are curved. We want them to, you know, come out and then go back down here. So I have to warm them up a little bit and use like these warm grays I have here. So now that white is warmer, but then I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of that cool gray. Oops, too much. Okay, and so I have a warmer neutral, and the value is about right. And I'm also going to run it, because remember we need this to pop in front. I'm going to run it just along this edge. Okay, so now as far as the teeth go, I'm just going to hit these last bright highlights. And I'm going to use this cool yellow, but we don't want it too yellow or it'll look like she needs the teeth cleaning. And a little warm. Okay, that value is about right. You can apply the same principle I'm doing with the teeth to the whites of the eyes too. That's another area where people really get goofed up and they just put, you know, straight white. There's all kinds of nuances in there, so you want to catch all those nuances. In the whites of the eyes, there's shadows, there's, you know, highlights, all those things. Okay, so now I'm going to get this little teeny brush and my black, purple, blue, and a little red. So I'm throwing color into it. And if I need to lighten it a little bit, I can just use this pink here, but I want it pretty dark. And I'm going to hit these dark, dark, darks. And if you realize, like I am right now, that you didn't make enough space somewhere, it's okay. You know, teeth are irregular and there's no, you know, definite, if it's super duper off and it's looking funny, then you might have to do something about it. And so I'll stand back from this and see if I do. But it's not the end of the world. You can just kind of fudge it and pretend it didn't happen. Unless when you stand back, there's obviously a problem, then we have to fix it. And whatever you do, do not make lines between the teeth. That is another left brain thing, because our left brain tells us outline the teeth, put lines between the teeth. And that will just look like really bad coffee stains, or like you got pepper in your teeth. I don't know, it'll look weird. So don't do that. What you want to do is just make, you know, sort of one tone on this edge. We're going to hit a lighter tone on this edge. And where the two edges meet kind of makes a line without having to outline it. Okay, so now I really need to put the highlights on the lips, and that will be my brightest, warmest warms I can manage. And then we're just gonna say this is done. I could, of course, you know, put layers and layers and layers of detail, but you know, we don't have all day here. You get the idea on how to paint teeth. So I'm using my warm white. Okay, so a very handy, you may not have this, but a really handy thing to have if you really like art supplies is to have a warm white and a cool white, and then your neutral white. So titanium is neutral white, warm white, Gamblin makes it. You can research it, which is a warm white. Zinc is always a cool white, and then Gamblin makes a cool white. You can make your own by taking titanium, but if you start with a warm or a cool white, it tends to go warmer, tends to go cooler. So that's why I like it, for these little nuances. So I'm using my warm white. I'm gonna stay away from the titanium. And the great thing about warm white and cool white is you can use it right out of the tube. If you look though, this value is too light for these highlights. It's not that bright. So I'm gonna throw a teeny bit of this pink in there to just get the value a little bit more darker. A little of that blue. Okay, so this is probably my warmest, lightest color on there, and I want it to go, you know, right here, basically. I'll cool it off as it goes there. So okay, so that is it for this teeth lesson that's probably changed your life by now. And the takeaways, the really, really important thing to remember is to don't listen to that left brain. Teeth are not white, just forget that. Teeth are not white, and they're not green, gray, yellow. This is tons and tons of different sort of whitish, grayish, light valued tones. The other takeaway is don't outline teeth. Don't make lines between teeth. Teeth is just tone on tone. And then the third takeaway is do not make your teeth warm. They must be cool. The lips have to be warmer than the teeth, otherwise the teeth will be buck teeth or horse teeth. They'll come out over the lips. So you really gotta watch those transitions. Okay, so hopefully this was really helpful, and even if you go into a smaller scale mouth and it's not like the whole painting, you can apply these principles and just scale it down to whatever size you're doing. I want to see some good looking teeth from here on out. So hopefully that was helpful, and we will see you next time.